Hello, viewers. This is Future Africa on OBN Horn of Africa. I'm Anwar, your host, and I'll be joined by Lavani Mila from Kenya, a lawyer. Lavani Mila, thank you for joining me. OBN Horn of Africa, Future Africa is our program, and a lawyer from Kenya. By the way, you recently tweeted that, behold, a new dawn. What does that mean?
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. The question about the reason why we're saying it is a new dawn to Africa is because Africa has been yearning for leadership, for people who will stand up for the African people, who will propose or propose the decisions and make decisions that will impact the lives of Africans in a positive way. When you look at the history of Ethiopia in particular, Menelik II was an inspiration to many Africans. He mobilized all Ethiopian forces to go to war against the Italians in 1896, and definitely he came out victorious. And that's the kind of things, that's the kind of victory that you're talking about today. Today we have a number of nations and foreign nations whose interest in Africa is not to promote the interest of the people of Africa. And to me, as a young person, and majority of the young people that I speak to, they actually believe that there is need for new leadership in Africa, a leadership that is pro-Africa, a leadership that will advance the interest of Africa against the foreign interest that has been advanced so far in our history. So when you look at what is happening in Ethiopia and the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Abiy Ahmed, standing up against the West and rebuking them for interfering in African affairs, that's what you're looking for. That's the kind of leadership you are looking for. And as Africans, we are really excited because it is a new beginning. It symbolizes the beginning of an era where the interest of Africans will be placed ahead of any other interest.
I mean, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed went to frontline, by the way, and is now commanding that army from the battlefield. What's your comment on that?
It really symbolizes the kind of leader he is, a servant leader who is patriotic to his nation and is willing to give his own life for his nation. It displays the love that Abiy Ahmed have for Africa and he has for his country. And it's really the kind of leadership that Africa yearns for. That's why we're excited about his leadership. We're excited about this. Going to the front line, it gives the people who are fighting this war, and the soldiers who are fighting this war, the Ethiopian Defense Forces who are fighting this war, the morale to know that their commander-in-chief is behind them. And he's doing everything possible, including giving his own life to make sure that Ethiopia remains free from foreign interference. That's the kind of power and that's the kind of leadership you're looking forward to.
You even wore a t-shirt, reading #no more. Does that connote for the whole continent of Africa?
The No More movement is not a movement for Ethiopians alone. This is a battle for the soul of Africa. It is a battle for the renaissance of African power and knowledge. At this particular point, Ethiopia is just a trigger to what is the bigger issue that is happening in Africa. It is the same feeling in Niger, it's the same feeling in South Africa, it is the same feeling in Kenya. And I think even when you go to the Caribbean, whatever the message that the No More movement is trying to give is simple, that we want African solution to African problems. And if there is a conflict in Africa, the first people who should be engaged in solving that conflict should be Africans themselves, not outsiders coming to impose on us what we are supposed to do, telling us how we're supposed to live our life and how we're supposed to conduct our affairs. So that's why we're standing tall with our brothers in Ethiopia. It is not just an Ethiopian movement. And by the way, you need to understand that Ethiopia is a significant, it's not just any ordinary country in Africa. Ethiopia is a symbol of independence of Africa. It is also the capital of African Union. That is the Addis Ababa is the headquarters of the African Union. So if anything happens to Ethiopia, if you touch Ethiopia, then you're touching the whole of Africa. That's why we have to stand against it. We have to join hands and say no more to foreign interference, because we Africans have come of age. We are strong enough, we are wise enough to make our own decisions and to take on the challenges that are facing us. So we are joining our brothers because we are one. There is no difference between an Ethiopian and a Kenyan. There's no difference between a Ghanaian and a Nigerian person. We are all one. These borders that we have today were drawn by colonial powers. We were never consulted. But if we look at what we aspire to achieve as a nation, or what we aspire to achieve as a continent, and generally as a Black nation, it is one. The aim is one. The goal is one. Our vision is one. So we want to deepen our economic engagement. We want to deepen our political engagement, and that's why we are standing by Ethiopia and say, if you touch Ethiopia, you touch the whole of Africa. If you touch any African country, then you are interfering with all of Africa. That's why we're saying no more to this. Because if you come to interrogate this in a deeper sense, you'll come to understand that if we allow someone to touch a single country and go untouched or unnoticed or not stopped from doing so, then what will stop them from going for the next country? We look at the instance that happened in Libya, for instance. We allowed Libya to be destroyed by foreign powers. The Western nations ganged up against Libya. They bombed Libya. And then what happened followed after the death of Gaddafi, the Libyan leader by that time. It threw Libya into chaos. The chaos that are already spreading into other regions, like the insecurity that is being experienced in the Sahel region. The larger Sahel region, the countries including Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali, they're experiencing insecurity because weapons that were collected from the Libyan armory after Gaddafi was overthrown are the ones that are being used by the terrorists and militias to terrorize the people of Mali. So if we allow such kind of things to happen, we will be destroying ourselves. So we need to act in unity. It shouldn't just be in saying and in speeches that we make. It should be in everything that we do, so that in case any of us is in trouble, then you have to stand up for each other. And that's the spirit that we're encouraging. That's the Pan-African spirit. That's why we are saying no more to foreign interference in Africa.
Why Pan-Africanism didn't still achieve its objectives? What do you think?
In my opinion, I think we need it's a Pan-Africanism being reborn. It isn't about, when you look at the history of Pan-Africa, it doesn't even start with our independence heroes like Jomo Kenyatta and Julius Nyerere. It goes back into the African-American struggle for independence. It starts from, it goes from Marcus Garvey, who started the Black Star Line ship to bring back Africans who have been taken as slaves into slavery in America. And also we have people like Du Bois. Du Bois also was a very ardent Pan-African who believed not just in African being a home to Africans, but African being a home to every Black person out on this planet. So we wanted to create a movement whereby we'll mobilize our resources. The essence of Pan-Africanism was to mobilize our resources to ensure that the prosperity of the Black person is put at the forefront, so that by working together in unison, we can achieve a single goal and resist any foreign interference. So when I look at the history of Pan-Africanism, it's an important history. It's something that gives us encouragement, because if we know that our forefathers have been fighting for this union for a very long time, and our independence hero also proposed, our proponent of Pan-Africanism, a single united nation with a single, which will fight for its own sovereignty. That's the essence that we are trying to fight for. That's one thing that is being reborn in us, because if you look at it historically, it has been in stages. There are those who founded it, and then we have the independence heroes who actually effected it, and we became independent from colonial powers. A majority of African nations became independent from colonial powers, but then we lost it when we became independent. The nations that were started as United States of America were different nations. They went to the Americas and they colonized that area. But then they decided to come together and form a single state. And that's when United States of America was born. If you look at, for example, even Chinese people, these people have come together in unison, and that's why they are powerful. That's why they are able to resist any foreign interference. That's why they are capable of protecting their sovereignty. And that's the thing that we're encouraging today. If we come together, if we pull together and advance this vision that our forefathers set for Africa, then we'll be able to make sure that Africa will be stronger and Africa will be truly independent from foreign interference. And also our sovereignty will be respected. We can have higher bargaining power when we're engaging in the world affairs, when we come together and pull together. That's the essence of Pan-Africanism that we should push for. It shouldn't just be rhetorics, meeting in Addis Ababa at the African Union headquarters, making grandiose speeches. And then at the end of the day, we don't do anything. We need to come together and pull together as Africans. Let's have a single currency. Let's have a single military, and we'll be respected in the world affairs. Because it is only by doing so that we'll be able to resist division and also separation and conflict within ourselves. We can be united. We can form that single front that we can fight for the betterment of the African nation, the African continent.
We say the 1960s, the year of the African year, where many countries got independence from colonizers. But I say Africa is not free. And what's your comment on this? What's your reaction?
We have to interrogate that question by looking at what is true freedom. We are talking about political freedom is us being able to choose our own leaders, to make our own decisions. That's the political freedom. I'll give an example of South Africa. Our hero of South Africa, Nelson Mandela, fought for the independence of South Africans. And actually, he abolished the apartheid regime and the rule of the white minority in South Africa. So South Africans today are able to choose their own leaders. They're able to elect their own leaders as a Black nation. But there's a problem also, because when we address this question, we must also look at economics of the independence of South Africa. Majority of South Africans, when they fought for independence, they wanted to live their dreams. They had a South African dream. They wanted to be given opportunities and not be discriminated. Again, it's because of the color of their skin. They wanted to be given same opportunities as any other person on this planet. And basically, it is the ability to go to good schools, to have good medication, have good houses, attend good social services from the government, and basically being able to achieve your dreams, whichever dream you have for your country. But what you have the current situation in South Africa is that we are politically free, but economically they are controlled by the white minority of South Africa, like the biggest part of the economy of South Africa. We need to now have infrastructure built by Africans. We need to have technologies built by Africans. We need to have consumer product created from Africa. For example, how do you explain cocoa in Ghana being the largest cocoa producer and then not being the biggest chocolate producer? I mean, we export our raw materials to outside world. And as long as we keep depending on the outside world to define our economic relations, then we are not truly free. Freedom is being truly free. Freedom is being able to pursue your own goals on your own terms. But currently, Africa is not doing business on its own terms. We are having agreements and we are going in as a lesser party. The agreements and the treaties that you are forming are actually favoring the West and the Chinese and other people. When you come to Kenya, for example, in my country, every big contract is being awarded to either China or any other foreign companies. Yet we have engineers, we have people from Africa who have this knowledge. Does this imply that we are trying to tell ourselves that we are not enough, we are not capable of doing this kind of business, this kind of jobs? Does it imply that Africans are lesser beings? They cannot stand for themselves, they cannot change the world if they want to? Does it imply that the dreams of an African child do not actually matter? Because if we keep relying on the foreign aid, for example, will not be able to do anything. For example, when it comes to agriculture, Africa has the largest arable area for farming and agriculture, but we are still importing food from outside. That is not independence. True independence is being able to feed our own people, is being able to build our own roads, is being able to build our own infrastructure, is being able to develop our own cars and technologies. That is true independence. And right now, that's not happening in Africa, and that is not independent. And also politically, we are speaking about leaders who are in power today, but they are dancing to the tunes of the West. Whatever the West says, they do it. They do not mind about the affairs of the African people. That's why we are looking at Prime Minister Abiy as a hero to us. He has shown us that you don't need to bow to the pressure from the West. You can stand firm on your ground and protect your sovereignty, protect the interest of your people. If that is because that is the biggest duty, that is the responsibility that we are all given, and we owe that to our mother Africa. That's what you're calling for, true independence. We are not truly independent at the moment.
Was that the reason why you tweeted about Thomas Sankara and Dr. Abiy Ahmed Ali a little bit talking about Thomas Sankara? Why have you posted that or tweeted that?
Yes, Thomas Sankara is a hero. This is a man who resisted foreign interference in his country. He renamed his country from Upper Volta to Burkina Faso. That even by doing so, he's encouraging the heritage of Africa. We cannot call our countries by foreign names. For example, we cannot be honoring foreigners at the expense of our own people. That's why we share the same similarities with Abiy. He's resisting foreign interference. Burkinabe people really loved Sankara because Sankara stood up and said, we are down with aid from the West. He refused to take loans from the West. He refused to bow to pressure from the West. What we need to know is that we need to exalt our heroes. We need to understand that our leaders are our leaders. They are our people, and we should stand behind them. We should not, by any means, try to create divisions amongst ourselves because of our leader. I mean, these people have pure intention for our nations. For example, if you look at Thomas Sankara, he had a vision for his country. He fought for his country. He had a clear mandate from the people, and he wanted to better the lives of the people of Burkina Faso and Africa in general. If you look at the statements he made, he believed in Pan-Africanism. He believed in Africans creating solutions to their own problems. And that's what we're encouraging today. We are saying no more to foreign interference, no more to copy-pasting our Western ideas into Africa. That's what Abiy is standing for. That is what Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed is standing for. And that's why we're saying there is a comparison between these people because they are heroes of Africa. They are our great men that we need to honor. We need to stand by them so that they can actualize the vision that they have for our country. You know, Thomas Sankara fought for Africa, and he had a dream for a better Africa to better the lives of the Burkinabe people. The problem was the Western nation did not love it because they benefit from the status quo that was in Burkina Faso by that time. They wanted to continue to exploit the resources of Burkina Faso. They wanted to continue to exploit the resources of Africa. And therefore, what they did is to create a situation whereby he was overthrown from power so that they could advance their agenda. And once Thomas Sankara came from power, he was killed or murdered by the French. If you want to advance Africa, we need to support our leaders who have a clear vision for our continent. I look at Abiy. If today we allow the West and their puppets to overthrow Abiy from Ethiopia, we will be failing Africa because Abiy, if you want to know if someone is serving the interests of Africans, you need to interrogate how he's relating with the West. When you look at the Western media, they are biased against us. They do not support Africa. And when you see the Western media singing songs of praises to some leaders in Africa, you have to understand that those leaders are betraying Africa. They're betraying us. What you need to do is how do you understand that your leader is actually doing the right thing? Is when he stands up to the West and the West don't like him. When the West don't like that person, he's doing the right thing because he's not advancing the interests of the West. He's advancing the interests of his people. And that's a good example we have in Africa right now. That is Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. That's what you are saying. Thomas Sankara, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, and all the leaders who wanted a united African front, who advanced the interests of Africa, should be supported, should be celebrated, not vilified, not threatened, and not even, by the way, to be removed from power. So we have to stand behind our leaders. And ask the world to respect our leaders, because these are our people. We have chosen them. We have elected them democratically. And if there is anybody who wants to become a leader, then he should follow the constitutionally laid out process on how on becoming a leader. So we need to support our Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed as Africans, not as Ethiopians, as Africans. Let us be behind him. Let us promote what the agenda that he has for his country.
Like you said, some Western media houses or outlets are, do have bias. What is expected from those in Africa?
That's the question we are calling for. We are saying as Pan-Africans, we need to unite. We need to come together. We need to pull our resources together. For example, what is the African Union doing? We don't have even a media that is pro-African. I mean, all 54 countries in Africa cannot afford to form one media house that will be pro-African. I mean, that's the craziest thing about our leaders currently. There's a generational change. There's a generational push for action. I mean, we cannot sit behind, watch the world destroy Africa, and our leaders say nothing. For example, right now, when we are looking at the crisis that is unfolding, that has unfolded in Ethiopia, we expected African Union to react strongly, to react forcefully, to protect Ethiopia, to protect the people of Ethiopia. But we are not seeing that. And that's why you're saying we are done with this kind of leadership. No more this kind of leadership. And until we have leaders who will stand up and protect their people. Like, for example, Abiy is a good image. He's sending a good message to all Africans that you can defeat the interest of the West. You can protect the interest of your people. And that's what you want to do. That's the power that we are trying to put to our people. Our leaders should wake up. If there is anything, I'm telling them, the generation that is coming, the young people that you are rising today are demanding for change, are demanding for action. We can't be living in poverty while we are producing all the resources that the world is using. We have oil in our country, in our land. We have resources underneath our land. The Democratic Republic of Congo has 70% or close to 70% of nickel and cobalt, which is used to manufacturing of electronics. And we are not having even a single company in Africa which is producing phones and electronics. I mean, we need to stop this kind of leadership. We need to stop this kind of madness that is going on in Africa. We need to call up on African people, even corporate bodies. If you are an African corporate body, because this is a war. It isn't just a political war. This is an economic struggle in the end of it all. So companies that are founded in Africa should also be pro-African. They should be Pan-African. They should promote Pan-Africanism, because that is the essence of being African. If you cannot support Africa, who else are you going to support? Because we need to raise our people from poverty. We need to lift our people out of poverty. Our people have been demonized. Our people have been trampled upon. Our rights have been disregarded. When we go to Europe, we are not welcomed. When you go to America, even the people who are born in America, they are killed by the policemen. They are disrespected. Black people and the rights of the Black person have been disregarded for a long time. And this is because we have failed to stand up for ourselves. We keep looking for solutions from the West. Yet we as a people have existed as a society for the longest time that we can remember. We have had our own heritage. We have had our own traditions. We have had our own way of leadership. And we have survived for all that long. So why is it that all of a sudden someone comes from outside and tells us that we are supposed to do things in this particular way and we all follow through? I mean, we need to stand up for Africa. We need to promote pro-African values. That's what we are standing for. That's what we're asking. It is not just media. Media should be able to interrogate this question. For example, I'm surprised even by the media in Kenya. We have even media in Kenya running stories about panic in Addis Ababa. And that's truly false. Like, this is just a few kilometers from Kenya. You can send a journalist down to Ethiopia and find out what is going on instead of relying on CNN and the likes of BBC. Because these people are, the BBC and CNN are a mouthpiece for their governments. They promote their government interests. They do not promote at all the interests of Africa. So let me tell you, Africans, the thing is, if we do not stand for ourselves, nobody's going to stand for us. Nobody's going to come. Nobody's going to tell us what we're supposed to do. Nobody has our interest at heart but ourselves. So until we wake up and start doing things the right way, until we start electing the right leaders into power and position, we are going to fail. As a continent, we are going to fail ourselves. We are going to fail the children who will come after us and their children's children. So we need to stand up as African and elect good leaders. Get rid of leaders who are pro-West. Get rid of leaders who do not advance the interests of Africa. We are not saying that we isolate ourselves. We shouldn't isolate ourselves. But when we are going to negotiations, we need to negotiate on our own terms. We need to engage the world, and the world need to pay a fair price for what they're getting from Africa. We cannot have Chinese companies, American companies coming into Africa, exploit our resources, and take them out of Africa to go and benefit the people from their nations. If they want resources in Africa, we are willing to share. We are good, we are okay, we are friendly people. We love visitors. We love them to come to our country. We love them to be with us. But if they come to our country, they need to respect us. They need to pay a fair price for what they're getting from Africa. Enough of this, all these things that are going on. I mean, enough of it. We have had enough of it. We need leaders who will stand up and defend the people of Africa. We need leaders who will stand up and say no more exploitation of African resources. We need leaders who will stand up and say no more interruption and choosing leaders for us. If we have elected our president or our prime minister, respect him. That's the bottom line. There is no negotiation about that. We don't go and tell Americans about their president and who they should elect as the president. Let them elect whoever they want to elect as the president, and we will respect their choice. So, and we expect the same from them. That is not too much to ask of them. Let them stay out of African sphere, and we are capable. And if the current leaders think they are not able to do what they were asking them to do, then we are going to tell them to step aside and allow the young people who are coming up to take the leadership mantle and drive the agenda of Africa for Africans.
Let me ask you for a comment. Some people say Abiy is fighting a civil war, but some others say, no, Ethiopia is fighting an African war.
You need to understand that Ethiopia is the only African country that was not colonized or was not interfered by the West. Liberia is the other country, but in Liberia, majority of the people in Liberia were free slaves who are coming from outside. So there was an element of foreign interference. So if you wanted to interrogate and find out what Africa would have been if there was no colonization in Africa, then Ethiopia is the test for that. It suits the parameter for that. So it has preserved the heritage of Africa. It has preserved the essence of being African. Ethiopia is an independent nation and has existed for many years, for many centuries. And therefore, when you look at it, it is the springboard on which we can now look at it from a social perspective and say, we are proud to be African, because when you go to Ethiopia, they don't have a foreign language as their national language. Officially, yes, you have English as the national language, but you look at what have they sustained, what relationship have they sustained over time? Like, look at the heritage they have, your own calendar. You have Ethiopia has its own alphabet. In 1896, on 1st of March, the Battle of Adwa, that was the battle that actually encouraged more Africans to know that we can defeat this colonialist. We can defeat neo-colonialist. So we have to stand by Ethiopia. In a cultural, historical point of view, Ethiopia is the epitome of African culture, is the epitome of African freedom. Secondly, politically speaking, Ethiopia currently is the host nation of the African Union headquarters. How in hell are we going to allow Ethiopia to fall when that is the capital of Africa? How would you say this is not an African war when it is truly clear to you that Ethiopia is, Addis Ababa is the capital of Africa? And look at it from another perspective. Ethiopia was the springboard, the launching pad of African freedom. Our forefathers, Jomo Kenyatta from Kenya, Kwame Nkrumah from Ghana, they went to Ethiopia. This is where the negotiation for African freedom were fought from. This is where all our African leaders met and decided to set the precursor to the current African Union, the Organization of African Union. So there is a historical sense of Africanism in Ethiopia. Ethiopia is not just a country. Ethiopia is the essence of Africa. And therefore, we have to fight protect Ethiopia. And by the way, even if all this were not true, was not the case with Ethiopia, we Africans are one people. We are of the same origin. We are all bearing the same desire for a better Africa. We are all bearing the same desire for a prosperous Africa. We are all bearing the same desire to uplift our people from poverty and place them in a place where they can pursue their dreams without any obstacles. We may be different ethnically. We may be different culturally. We may be different in many aspects, but there's one thing that unites us: the desire to see Africa prosper. And if there is a war in Ethiopia, if there is a war in any part of Africa, if there is a conflict, then that part of prosperity is not going to be achieved. That's why we are standing tall. We are standing unshakable. We are saying we are not going to allow any further conflict to be instigated by foreigners in Ethiopia. That's why Ethiopia isn't fighting a civil war in Ethiopia. Ethiopia is fighting foreign interference in African affairs. And every leader, every president, every person who is of African origin should and must support the war against terrorism in Ethiopia, because there is no prosperity in Africa without prosperity in Ethiopia, without prosperity in any other part of Africa. That's what we're fighting for. That's what we're asking for. That's why it was saying, stop telling us who we are. We know who we are. We know who we are. I am a Kenyan, that is by birth, but I'm African. You are Ethiopian, that is by birth, but you are African. So we are a common people. We need to front a united front. We need to come together and fight as one. Forget about the divisions that we have. You speak a different language, I speak a different language, but we understand each other. That's this unspoken language of Africa. That's the unspoken language that we share in. So that's the power that we are advocating for. That's the power that you're asking. African Union, any other organization out there, we need to stand by Ethiopia. This is not an Ethiopian war, and anybody who tells this is a civil war about Ethiopia, that's a propagandist who should not be allowed to, who should not be listened to. Let's listen to our conscience. What would you feel if Kenya today was at war? What would you feel if Kenya today failed to achieve its goal because of conflict? How would you feel? Do you think Ethiopia will be prosperous? Do you think Ethiopia will succeed? No. What you're saying, this is an African war. This is not an Ethiopian war. This is an African war, and every African must stand up to this.
Lavani, let me ask you one question which you recently posted. Of course, it's not question. You are organizing people, Kenyans and Pan-Africanists, to come together and support Ethiopia and show their solidarity to Ethiopia and to no more, hashtag no more, which you have, of course, worn now on your t-shirt. What's its progress now?
So when we come together, we need to come together not just by talking and maybe tweeting online. We need to show solidarity with Ethiopia by taking action. For example, I'm advocating for Africans or people of African origin to visit Ethiopia. I mean, that is something that we need to raise awareness about, because Ethiopia currently needs financing. Ethiopia currently needs economic boost. I mean, the economy of Ethiopia has been battered because of the conflict that is ongoing. And also, there are people whose life have been affected, who have fled their home because of the attacks from the TPLF. There are people who have lost lives. There are people who have lost their source of earning and living. And therefore, my plea, whatever we are having, my effort from my side is I'm going through to raise awareness amongst Kenyans about what is going on in Ethiopia. What we want to do, we want to organize for a kind of if Africans coming together for Africans. For example, what we have in Africa currently, we are talking about aid from outside world, aid from the United Nations, aid from US, aid from UK, aid from Japan, aid from China. And I'm asking myself, are there no Africans? Are there no Kenyans? Are there no people in Africa who can come and stand together and form a body that will be in charge of collecting well-wishers support from all over Africa, so that it can be channeled not only to the cause in Ethiopia, but to the all African conflict that are happening in the world. Because we are brothers, we are one. And I'm a firm believer in the philosophy of Ubuntu. Ubuntu is a word from South Africa. In Kenya, we say Utu. Ubuntu basically means I am because we are. That is the loose translation of Ubuntu. That the well-being of the people of Ethiopia and the well-being of the people of Somalia, the well-being of the people of Rwanda, the well-being of the people of Burundi, as the well-being of Kenya. So we need to, I'm going to raise awareness through, I'm raising a campaign. I'm starting a campaign in Kenya where we'll be putting together resources. We'll be raising awareness so that we can not just resist foreign interference in Ethiopia and in Africa, but also contribute when it comes to clothes, food, stuff, and all the kind of things that Ethiopia may need. So it may be little, it may not be small, but I know Kenyans are people of a generous heart. And we will be acting, I think we'll be acting in liaison with the Ethiopian embassy, so that we can have whatever we will have collected, reach out to the people who have been affected by the war, so they know that they are not alone and they are welcome, and they should feel like everybody in Africa cares about their well-being.
You have also called on many people to budget and to arrange themselves and to plan to visit Ethiopia. I mean, are you also planning to visit Ethiopia, and why is that called?
Whatever, by the way, you need to understand, even before the conflict arose in Ethiopia, I had plans to come to Addis Ababa. I wanted to spend my time in Addis Ababa to understand the people of Ethiopia and to interact with the people of Ethiopia. Even if it may be not this January, but I'm definitely coming to Addis Ababa. I'm coming to spend my time in Addis Ababa to be with the people of Ethiopia, interact with them. They're my brothers. That is my second home. I'm coming home. That's basically what I believe in. Ethiopia is our motherland. Ethiopia is the genesis of our freedom. Ethiopia is a representation of what we believe in. And therefore, the cultural heritage and the scenic views and the good, kind, and peace-loving people of Ethiopia should be a motivation for anybody to visit Ethiopia. They have a very wonderful culture. And the coffee, of course, when you go to the Ethiopian coffee is one of the best in the world. So we want to come there and have a good time in Ethiopia. That's why I'm encouraging everybody out there to come out, stand with the people of Ethiopia. If you have the finances, if you can travel, if you can budget, then budget yourself, travel to Ethiopia. The Ethiopian people are peace-loving people, they are friendly people, and they are ready, more than ready to welcome all of us. So I'll be coming to Ethiopia. That's definitely, I'll be coming to Addis Ababa.
Oh, Lavani Mila, a lawyer from Kenya. Thank you very much.
I should thank you for having me. Asante sana. That is Swahili for thank you.
I've been talking to Lavani Mila from Kenya, and a lawyer, of course, from that country. It says only boundaries divided countries in Africa, and Africans are one wherever they are. And the war being fought in Ethiopia is not a civil war, it is an African war, which Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed Ali is leading. Thanks for watching.